All right. In this video, I want to talk about how the Catholics actually preach and believe once saved, always saved. And they do it in two ways. The first thing they do is they talk about Matthew 16 and about the church built upon the rock, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. They take this to mean that the church is always going to stand. It's never going to fall, right? In spite of all that it goes through in its own mess that it creates for itself, it's still going to persevere, right? The gates of hell are not going to prevail. This is once saved, always saved. Yet the Catholic applies it to something outside of themselves for some reason. The church is the believers. The church is the assembly. You can't have the assembly without the people. It's the true believers make up the church, and the gates of hell are not going to prevail against us. So once saved, always saved. If you think we can lose our salvation, then the gates of hell have prevailed against the church. If anybody who's truly been saved because they realize that they are a sinner and that they can't save themselves, no matter how hard they try to stop sinning, to do good, to go through the religious rituals, they can't change themselves. They can only clean the outside of the cup, and inside there is no peace. There is no joy. There isn't that true love. It's all of words and this outward show. And they truly see this, and they humble themselves to God at the cross and just say, please, Lord, save me. I can't do this. And when they accept what Jesus has done on our behalf, where he lived the perfect life in the flesh, inwardly and outwardly, and that when he was dying there up on the cross, it was you. He was doing that for you, and it's your life nailed there. And when you truly believe that your past, present, and future is nailed to that cross 2,000 years ago, you receive God's life in exchange for yours. You get his righteousness, which you can't taint. You can't stain the robes of God's righteousness that he covers you in. Your thoughts, your words, and your deeds cannot tarnish his righteousness. Or your lack of good thoughts and good words and good deeds would not diminish his greatness and the things that he has done, that you are covered with. That's why the gates of hell cannot prevail against us. The church. Once we're saved, we're saved. If we could be lost, then Jesus is a liar and the gates of hell would have prevailed. Yet for some reason, Catholics put this off to some entity that I don't know what. This thing you call the church is just out there somewhere. It's our mother or something. Like, what is it? It's just this idea, right? They think it's not them, or they look at it as their church building. It's the house of God. This is the church. So the gates of hell are not going to prevail against the building. What? Or they see it as the clergy, right? You got the Roman pontiff and the cardinals and the bishops and yada, yada, yada. Peter says we're all priests. We're all part of the clergy. The clergy is not separate from the church. We're all one body. So if once we're saved, we could be lost, then the gates of hell have prevailed. On top of this, Catholics teach, along with pretty much all of Christianity, that once Jesus returns and does away with sin, punishes all the sinners and Satan, that's when we're saved, right? And once we're saved, always saved. Because they'll say, hey, there's not going to be any more sin. You're not going to fall away, and nobody's ever going to go to hell anymore. So once saved, always saved. Both ways that they look at this, they're teaching once saved, always saved, yet they're oblivious to it. And they think, no, you can lose it. Well, then if you could lose it, the gates of hell prevail, which makes Jesus a liar, and you could lose it once Jesus does away with sin. Right? You need to think about these things. So thanks for watching, and take care.